All right, let's talk about something every single brand hits when they try to go global. It's not just about selling a product, right? It's about selling meaning. So how do you actually make a real cultural connection when you're crossing borders? Let's get into it.
So let's just start with a huge question. How would you sell something as deeply personal, as culturally specific as spirituality? It's not like selling a smartphone or a t-shirt. The value is totally intangible, and what it means to me could be completely different from what it means to you.
And look, this isn't just some thought experiment. A Japanese spiritual jewelry brand, famous for its crystal bracelets, ran right into this wall. They had this massive goal: launch in the UK, Spain, and Italy all at once.
Okay, so this brings us to the first major idea here, which is what we call the global-local dilemma. And this is really the heart of the matter. Success isn't about having the slickest ads, it's about whether you can achieve this deep cultural alignment and build real trust from scratch.
And this slide, it just lays out the whole puzzle perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got their superpower, their Japanese origin. I mean, that comes with this amazing reputation for quality and craftsmanship. But on the other side, you've got this giant hurdle. How on earth do you translate the spiritual value of these bracelets for three totally different European cultures without it feeling fake or, losing its soul?
So that forced them to ask a really fundamental question, and this gets right to the heart of their strategy. One market or three? Before they even thought about a single TikTok video, they had to figure this out. Are we going to treat Europe as one big generic market, or are we dealing with three completely different worlds? The answer was going to change absolutely everything.
So instead of just, throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, they got strategic. They used a classic tool called the STP framework. That stands for segmentation, targeting, and positioning. It's basically a way to stop guessing and start actually understanding who you're talking to and what they truly care about.
This comparison here really nails the difference. On the left, you've got the typical tactical approach. Just run some ads, blast out one message to everybody, and kind of hope for the best. But on the right, that's the strategic path they took. First, you figure out the local meaning, and then you build your entire message around that.
All right, so they chose the smart path. And that brings us to the really juicy part: decoding cultural meaning. This is where it gets so fascinating because they actually did the research to figure out what words like spirituality and value even meant in each of these countries. This is the big aha moment of this whole story.
And the answer they found was, well, it was a total game changer. Europe, for this brand, was absolutely not one market. It was three completely separate mindsets when it came to how people thought about spirituality, beauty, and trust.
You see, the goal wasn't just translation. It was to achieve something called cultural resonance. This is such a critical idea. It means making your product feel emotionally and aesthetically native to a market, like it actually belongs there, instead of just being some foreign thing with the words swapped out.
And just look at this breakdown. The differences are staggering, right? In the UK, spirituality is all about mindfulness and minimalism. But in Spain, it's about expressive, emotional symbols. And then in Italy, it's tied to heritage, to craftsmanship, to the story behind the thing. It's the same exact product, but it has to mean three totally different things to have any chance of succeeding.
So what came out of all of this research wasn't just a spreadsheet full of data. It gave them actual people to talk to. They created these three super clear customer personas: the mindful minimalist in the UK, the expressive mystic in Spain, and the artisanal heritage collector in Italy. And these aren't just cute names. They literally became the North Star for their entire marketing plan.
Okay, so this is all great insight, right? But the big question is, how do you actually use it? That brings us to our next section, insight into action. Because having these cool personas is one thing, but how do you turn that idea into actual repeatable marketing that your entire team can get behind?
Well, the way they bridged that gap was super clever. They used a process they called the AI interview. What they did essentially was use AI to create a simulation so they could talk to each persona. They could ask it questions like, what kind of video would you stop scrolling for? Or what message would make you trust us? It allowed them to test ideas and turn those fuzzy cultural feelings into a concrete playbook. Let's make this real. Let's take that UK persona, the mindful minimalist. Look at how that one idea dictates everything. The product itself needs to have minimalist designs. The price can be premium because this person values high-quality materials. The place is going to be online like TikTok Shop. And the promotion, the content, it has to be all about calm and mindfulness, not loud, flashy stuff. So, when you piece all of this together, what do you get?
you get a full-blown localization playbook. And this is really the ultimate takeaway here. It's a strategy built not on what you assume, but on a deep, data-driven understanding of what things actually mean to people. And the core lesson is so powerful.
It all boils down to this one powerful idea. Successful European expansion requires localized meaning, not global replication. You just can't copy and paste a brand identity and expect it to work everywhere. You have to do the work to find out what it means locally.
What this whole journey proved is that there is no such thing as a unified spiritual language across Europe. It just doesn't exist. The only way to connect in a real, authentic way was to build a specific, persona-driven plan for each and every single market.
And that really leaves us with one final question to chew on. Whether you work in this field or you're just fascinated by how culture works, is your global strategy, or the strategy of the brands you love, truly connecting with people, or is it just translated? Thanks for joining me.